this was that as I saw society and as I saw the world in general was something to do with the fairground that came to town, and I just love this idea, and I've said this a few times to friends and to other people, that the idea of a fairground coming to town, and if you take the idea of the community in the town being the earth connection and the place from where humans originally evolved, and this alien thing, this sort of kind of strange structure appeared and set itself up within the human psyche, the human consciousness, and rooted itself predominantly here symbolised through the left brain. And what happened over a period of time is that the fairground became more of a reality than the actual community around the fairground. And little by little, over many years, probably over periods of thousands of years, there was an exodus to the fairground. And the fairground became the place where people lived. And then over time, as time does this, the fairground became sophisticated, and it had its own structures and institutions, and it had its own authority and its own police and its own systems of life that we have every day around us. And I thought it was a beautiful idea to try and convey the idea of the fairground as being this sort of place where, and as fairgrounds are, they're just the biggest centre for distraction from our real purpose and our real goals in life and our real understanding of who we are and where we came from. So what I liked here with the image and what I was trying to do was suggest that the fairground is important, but it's also an illusion if you're allowed to be too important in that sense. And what I see happening in society more often than not, and what's going to happen, I think, as the years unfold, is that people are going to turn around and realise that they're in one giant fairground.
Yeah.
From the stock markets to the casinos to the roulette wheels to the
wealth that we think we're building.
That's right. The idols flashing, the neon lights, and the neon human, atomic man and woman not knowing how to act inside the fairground. Sooner or later, going to do one thing, and one thing is leave the fairground. And I think this is one of the main turning points that we were talking about before. But the turning point is that it's not about demolishing the fairground, symbolic of riots and protests and all these things that you're going to see, which are coming now. If you look at what's happening in Greece and looking at other places, these are all natural human responses to tyranny and to corruption and to the haves and have-nots, which is important on one level, but the real way to remove the fairground reality, as I call it, is to leave the fairground behind, which means switching off, which means it might mean at some point there'll be some sort of exodus away from this reality or this world as it is and the structures that we have. And what happens under its natural course is that the fairground eventually closes shop. Boards go up. It's no longer functioning. People aren't interested.
I like that because it's less about destroying things and breaking it down and forceful, and more about a natural, it's just the end of its time and let it be, just let it go, just release it.
The fairground's broken down and it's not being fixed. And people are getting bored of the
that's right. We must fix the casino, it's not functioning. Well, how about forgetting all about it?
And going off and doing something else, because that's on my personal level. Let's go do something else. So it's because I like that view of the future, because everyone that I know of, we're talking about, we're getting into, what's going to happen. We all have this sense of not doom and gloom, but there are a lot of things out there that's very doom and gloom. And I'm I like that way of looking at things. We don't have to go and break it down. We don't have to go and destroy it. And it's more about just let it be.
I'll give you another example, which is really simple. Where I'm from originally in South Yorkshire, in Rotherham, many years ago, the equivalent of the fairground came to town, and it was brought there by multinational corporations, and it became the Meadowhall shopping centre, plonked in between two industrial cities, a town and a city. And little by little, people started to forget that the town centre existed. They stopped using their community stores and their shops and their markets, and eventually there was an exodus to the shopping centre, and that shopping centre thrived and took away business from the place where it originally was. Now, people complained. I mean, I used to, I don't go back very often, but when I do, and when I'm back there, people complain about how Rotherham, for example, the town centre has been systematically taken apart, or there is no business and things have shut. Well, of course it's shut because all the attention and the energy was focused on a shopping centre that was plonked in the middle of, in the middle of nowhere, and there you go. So how would you get, I mean, if people wanted to vote with their feet, they'd stop going there and they'd put their energy back in the town. And little by little, that place would eventually cease to exist. It's very simplified, I know, it's a simplistic answer, but it has a lot of power, because if you don't want a certain thing happening in your community, if you don't want a shop or a store to open, people power, voting with their feet, saying we're not going to go there, eventually, sooner or later, you'll find that has ramifications. That it won't happen, and that's one of the examples I'm talking about. Obviously, it's an artistic license going on here, and it's something else. But it's that kind of non-cooperation, that peaceful non-cooperation that the likes of David and others are talking about, which is a manifestation of this. It's literally switching off and not playing the game. The other side to this is dealing with the financial ramifications of this, and it's I mean, if you can't give what you haven't got, ultimately people are going to be in that sort of area now with all the climate that we've got, and the manufactured recession that we're meant to be going into globally, which is obviously leading to something else globally.
Absolutely.
But there's a line in the song, and I forget who it was. It was what was his name? Something Seaside or some Stephen, a country and western singer. It was fantastic, and he said, "I started out with nothing, and I've still got most of it left."
Because no one can take it away from you.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought, but that's exactly it. And it's the same with the analogy of the fairground for me when I was painting this. I'm laughing as I'm painting it, because I'm thinking, well, the wider community which you could take as being symbolic as the connection to the land, or to higher consciousness, or to oneness, or whatever you want to call it, it's not going to worry about possessions and what's going on inside the fairground in the Babylonian blueprint of a wonderful metropolis that is the fairground reality. Because that's what it is. If you go to London today and you stand on the river and look out over the Thames, you're looking at Babylon, aren't you?
Literally.
If you go to any major city, they're all miniature versions of Babylon. I went to the Babylon exhibition at the British Museum recently, and he said it all really for me, because the whole of the symbolism within that exhibition, in terms of art, you can find in a modern day context when you walk around London. And I'll give you two examples. One is the continuous use of the lion, which is what I've been using in this image back here. And the lion in its effigies and the statues that you get all over London, which has other occult meanings as well. And you get the lion in Babylon, and then also the symbol that you have for the city of London with the two serpents and the red cross.
Yes.
Well, that is a Babylonian symbol in its own right. I mean, if you go and look at the stelas and what was on show in the exhibition there, it's quite obvious it's the same thing, and it's come from there. So, right down to other bits of detail as well, which so art and symbolism in that way. I mean, what I'm trying to do is probably change some of the symbolism and add a contemporary angle on it. So using the fairground is something that is very Victorian in that sense.